Hey there, winos. This is VINCE.WINE, and right now I'm standing at 2,000 feet elevation here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, AVA. That is an American viticultural area or wine growing region. Just like Napa and Sonoma are a wine growing region, Santa Cruz Mountains is one of the original wine growing regions in California. Today, I'm going to be checking out Byington Vineyard and Winery, one of the originals here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. They've been producing wine here for the last 30 years, and I want to go check out what have they got to offer. So let's go drop them a visit on today's wine hopping. Well, right now I'm standing in front of the beautiful Byington Winery, and whew, it is a hot day today. It's about 91 degrees up here, which isn't typical for this wine growing region. Usually it's influenced by a really cool coastal climate, but you know, even up here in the summertime, it's really going to get that scorching heat in the mid of summer. I'm here today with winemaker Andrew Brankwitz, and we're going to be a little bit separate today. I want to keep up some social distancing, but I want to know, Drew, when did you become a winemaker? How did you become a winemaker? And how long have you been with Byington? Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I became a winemaker here in 2006. However, my journey started long before that. So I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. I graduated in 1995 from high school. And from there, I went down to San Luis Obispo. A lot of my friends went down there, and you know, it was more about going to junior college at that point. And I didn't really have a destined path. So what I did was go to JC down in San Luis Obispo and Cuesta College. And from there, decided to get a job at a winery. I worked for Wild Horse Winery, and that was a pretty good, exciting time, being 21 years old, working in a winery. After that, I worked at Wild Horse for 2 years as I was going through school at Cal Poly. So I got into Cal Poly that summer, and I started studying fruit science, and my minor was viticulture. And viticulture, if you don't know, is growing grapes with a census of enology, which is winemaking. So that's how it all planned out for me. I graduated in 2001, and I moved back home and found a job up at Byington Winery. I was just a scrub and dragging hoses. From that point on, just stuck to it, kept working my way up. I became winemaker, like I say, in 2006. And from there, it was a long path. So what is that, 20 years here in one place. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, so all our winemaking is natural process. We decided this years ago, feeling that it was a good direction for us. We like to present ourselves as organic. We've started the program, and we are well into it right now. Obviously, you can see behind me the vineyard, and it's thriving. So we promote ourselves, but everything by hand. We definitely pick our fruit by hand, and once we pick, it goes into fermentation, which is all completely natural yeast, which we use, and that develops in the vineyard itself. So right now what you're looking at is bloom. So the fruit itself is blooming, or I should say the flowers are blooming right now, which is going to set our fruit. This is a natural process, and again coincides with our organic mentality. So right now, yeah, like I say, we're in flowering. As you can see, these are potential fruit. So you can see the potential fruit is budding. These are called little pistils right here. And what that is doing is it's basically, how can I say it, pollinating the fruit. So we're in process right now of this. And what's gonna happen next is the fruit will set. And that's a very important part of this process. So any rain that comes through, not so good for us. So we love this heat that Vince was talking about earlier. So behind me is another section of our vineyard. I should have told you at the start, this is all Pinot Noir, 800 acres. Can I start that over? So anyhow, it's 8 acres planted, and it's all Pinot Noir. We find that this area is perfect for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. Cabernet can grow here, which is nice, different style than say up north, but Pinot Noir in Santa Cruz Mountains, ideal. What we do is we get this fog that comes in at night and it blankets the property, and we're at 2,000 feet, so that's a heavy fog day. And in the morning that fog subsides and it sits in the valley, so we have a nice cool day. By this time, which is about what, 1 o'clock, the heat of the day is happening right now, so everything's growing, thriving. You can see the tendrils and all the growth, everything's shooting up in the air and it's soaking in our sun. So here we are in the cellar. I should tell you this, that there is no chemical use that we use here in this facility, mainly because it's our drive, it's our passion. There are 3,000 chemicals that are able to be used in winemaking, and we use one, which is sulfur dioxide, which we make on our own property here. The reason we use sulfur is to control oxidation, also to kill any bacteria that came from the vineyard. So that's basically the process.
What's oxidation?
Oxidation is when wine, it takes on oxygen, which is not particularly nice to wine because wine always wants to be vinegar, and that's the process naturally. So what's happening is sulfur dioxide is eliminating that oxygen capability by binding to oxygen that's in the wine, basically preserving it, and that's what a sulfide is. So right now, there's fermentation going on. Psych. This is basically a holding facility waiting for September to come when we pick our Pinot Noir. And so what's gonna happen is this is gonna be filled up with fruit, and then the fermentation starts. What we like to do is we soak the fruit for say 2-3 days, then we promote the fermentation. And the reason we soak it is to gain color and concentration and flavor from the fruit. What's gonna happen after fermentation and all the sugar's depleted and turned into alcohol, and all the skins and seeds and everything is inside this tank. What we do is we drain it out, all the free run juice, which we keep separate. Then we climb inside this tank and we dig it out. Literally, a man goes inside, most times me or another coworker, and we put it into the press outside, which squeezes the rest of the juice out. At that point, it's wine. Once the tanks are empty, what we'll do is we'll store all these tanks full of water during the winter when all the rain's coming. Santa Cruz Mountains has a lot of rain, so we like to store it in the winter when we have excess of it, and we can use it in the summer when there's a drought going on.
Whew. Well, it is a lot cooler here in the wine cave, one of my favorite spaces. I am right here in front of the library area of the wine cave. When a winery refers to a library, by the way, they're typically talking about the older vintages of wine that they have in their stock that's just appreciating and getting better and better with age and with complexity of flavor. So, Drew, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk to us about the wine cave while I am chilling here in the library.
So here we are in the cave. As Vince said, it's nice and cool in here. The reason we have this area is to age wine at an underground temperature of 62 degrees. We like to use American oak and French oak. It depends on the wine. So we have our Pinot Noir that we've been talking about so far, and we like French oak on it typically with a medium toast. And what's happening in that case is the French oak is basically a sweetness and a mellowness of the flavors that can bring out some of the Pinot Noir's characteristics. However, we also use American oak on it to give it a little more boost. American oak tends to be a little bit more aggressive. What we are doing here also is making Cabernets, Merlots, which we'll talk about up in the tasting room, and we'll actually physically taste them because I think Vince wants a little hint of it. We're unfiltered wine completely. What's unfiltered wine? Unfiltered wine is basically aging the wine in the barrel for its whole life. What it's doing is basically all the sediment from the fermentation and all the skins and the seeds and all that stuff just settles down to the bottom, and we call that lees. So at the end process, when we bring all the wine out to be bottled, there's all the lees in the bottom and we take only the top, which is basically clear wine, and that's a natural process that happens throughout the wine's life. So we've been talking about the Pinot Noir for some time throughout this tour, and here's the end product. We started making wine in 1987 here at Byington Winery. We've won several double golds, we've won golds, we've won a lot of medals. I think it's over 30. So that being said, when the new owner showed up, they purchased the property up north. It's called Tin Cross. There's plenty of history about this place. What we do up there is growing Bordeaux style. So that meaning Cabernet Merlot and Cabernet Franc. We do have some Chardonnay up there also, so if you're interested in that too, you're more than welcome. But this is our new label, which we call Tin Cross. So this is our 2015 Chardonnay from Tin Cross Vineyard, which we were talking about earlier. What the wine is crisp, clean, smooth. The clarity on it is brilliant. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there it is. I'm gonna pour a friend from my good old friend also. Pour a glass for a good old friend. There you go, buddy. So it's very buttery smelling. It's got great nutty aroma. There's some citrus, pear, apple. Basically your good California Chardonnay.
Tell me a little bit about what we're saying.
Oh yeah, so what we're looking at right now is the Monterey Bay, which we were talking about. Basically the fog comes in right here through the San Lorenzo Valley and it cools our grapes, which we were talking about. You can probably see the bay in the background. That is Monterey Bay, Marine Sanctuary. And up here, 2,000 feet, it's a gorgeous view. You should come on up.
All right, Drew, well, thank you for a fantastic tour. That was a lot of fun, and again, we're just trying to keep up with a little social distancing here, but you know, I also want to just take a look around and see what does Byington have to offer, so you guys can, you know, figure out what you want to do on your next visit. All right, guys, well, that was a lot of fun here at the beautiful Byington Vineyard and Winery. I hope I've encouraged you guys to come take the windy road up here. It's a gorgeous drive, it's great wine, and it's a beautiful view with a lot to do. And until next time, winos, drink safe and drink well. Drew, thanks a lot again. That was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate your time today.